Colby Brandon, Gadsden, Kendall Blackwell Jr., and Nick Lewis Jr.
All right, Coach, you come up short today against Oaks Bluff. Can you talk about the game in general and what you've seen from the guys today?
Not many words for it today. We did have a short bench. We had a few not here today. Had one sick, and we came out like that. We came out like knowing, oh crap, we're in trouble today. And we came out of the locker room like that, and just never really found a rhythm. Never really got anything going. Played way down. Kind of one of those games where had a few days off. They knew it didn't mean nothing, so they kind of laid down and showed that. But again, I try to preach to them. Only ones that really matter in February, so we got to put this one behind us.
Right. Can you talk about the overall experience here at the Christmas Classic and, for good or bad, of what that's done for your team? I know you guys have come up short, but at the end of the day, the growth and some of the teams y'all got to see and play against?
Obviously, West End first. We've played them already this season. We didn't put together a whole game against them, which is, like we talked about then, it's kind of been the story of our season. Sardis, same way, just never really found anything while we were here. I don't know if it had to do with the fact of coming off another tournament, some fatigue, and we played shorthanded this week. Had a few guys, had some things going on. So it was tough for us. I know on the parents it was tough. The admission here is tough for our parents to get people in here. So that's what today we talked about how quiet it was during our game. We could hear conversations going on in the bleachers. Mm-hmm. So it was tough for us. Again, never really got anything going. I think we took a few steps back while we were here. So that's tough for us. But I'll take the blame for that. I did overwork a little bit over Christmas break. But they get their rest now. They get till Monday. So they can try to heal up.
Turkey and dressing, Coach.
They got to heal up. Hopefully we'll be full throttle come back Tuesday.
And moving forward, when we're starting to approach area play here, what are some of the biggest things you think you're going to have to work on team-wise to get your guys ready to go in that area?
One's just coming out of the locker room ready to go. Today we came out in the first half, came out slow. Not even third quarter. We actually second half we didn't pick up how we were playing, but we picked up the energy, which helped a little bit. And I've tried to preach that to them. Like, even when we play bad, if the energy's there, that it can hide some things. Energy hides mistakes sometimes, but. We worked around today, worked a little bit of defense we've been trying to put in, and I was happy with it for the most part. They're late when they got tired. We had nobody to go to off the bench, so when we would go to the bench, we had 2 JV guys playing a lot of the time. So it was a tough one today, but I think that's the defensive end. We got to pick it up and go back to what we did in the invitational we played in.
And I'll let each one of you guys speak. Talk about the overall experience in the tournament you guys have had from a player's point of view so far.
Just knowing what we have to now do to be better for who we play coming up and the rest of our season. Knowing that we can't have games like tonight if we want, or this afternoon, whatever it is, if we want to be competitive against the people in our area and the teams we've got left on the schedule.
It's good to open up and see what the real competition is, get used, see what's really going on.
Absolutely. And you two guys looking forward to area play coming up, and I know Coach said you guys are getting some off time. How do you guys plan on spending your off time kind of relaxing before you got to go back to work? Y'all gonna be playing PlayStation or what?
Shooting. Running.
That's your relaxation? Yeah. I like it. Y'all got work to do, huh?
You've been running 2-3 most of the time. That's fall back into a 1-2-2 there in the second quarter.
It was. We actually stole it from Virginia. They run it in college. It's called Packline D. And it's basically, if the man in your zone doesn't have the ball, you got 1 foot in the lane. And it's trying to force teams to beat you from the outside. And we preach that. Again, I know they hit more threes than twos that game. But that's what I preach that. I want teams beating us from out there. I don't want teams beating us inside, and they did there for a little bit. And then we finally got back to forcing them back out. But we do like to run that. We've been working on it. It's still relatively new for us. So for the most part, I was happy with it. But now it's just picking up the energy and getting the hand in their face a little quicker on the 3-point line. but we did. We've been trying to work a few different things, but.
On that 1-2-2, do you have that one up there? Do you want him pushing a certain direction, or do you let them choose which direction?
We don't really care if he pushes a direction. Obviously, there will be some guys that we will push a certain direction, but for the most part, we don't care. We just don't want them too far up to leave the middle open. We like to just make sure they keep it around the perimeter. And we actually went to that early on, and for the first few possessions, we did a very good job starting the second quarter on it and forcing them just to pass it around the perimeter, and they'd have about 40, 45 seconds. They turned it over a couple times. And that's what we look for. We don't necessarily care to push people in a certain direction. It's just keeping it out of the middle.
Coach, we appreciate you. And again, I promise you, you guys definitely look like a different team. I guarantee it. And it's been an honor to talk to you this week. Looking forward to covering you in the future.
Thank y'all for doing this too.
Richard Hollingsworth, Jacob Camacho, Gavin Canui.
All right, Coach, outstanding game. You guys overall has had an outstanding tournament. Very well coached team. Everybody on the sidelines, even coaches from other teams, players from other teams, noticed you guys represented really well here. Only lost to a very tough, Gadsden City 1 seed. Let's talk about today, though, specifically. This Coosa bunch. Coosa had been on a roll after last game. They looked really tough, and then you guys coming in, and they had Evan Delp and Artavius Britton, and a really tough team themselves. Talk about what you've seen from those guys coming into the game and the execution that ultimately got you the win.
Well, we know a lot about them. Obviously, I know a lot about them from coaching there. Evan's one of the better players in the county, no doubt. We made an effort to minimize what he could do, but like all great players, they're going to get there. So we were just wanting to concentrate on making sure we get ours. And we did that. We did a good job of getting enough points where it was going to make it hard on them every trip. So Coosa, Coach Bogle, he's a half-court man. He loves it, and they're good at it. And so we appreciated their effort, and we wanted good effort out of them, so it would make good effort from us.
Absolutely. And from an offensive standpoint, you guys, I kept noticing as this game drew on, especially right there at the end of the first half, your defense turned into offense for you. You guys really stepped it up on defense, which you got several layups out of it. Can you talk about that last push right there at the end of the second half? I think that's where you ultimately seize control of this game.
Right. Well, going in the locker room, we talked about that. Me being new to them being new to me, I want them to push at every opportunity. That don't mean the ball's got to go, but we got to push, and we want to take the other team's legs out. And a team like Coosa, no disrespect, but we know if we can get them in their bench, it's to our favor. So I think early we didn't have energy. We weren't running the floor. We may have done too much at shoot around today. I'm really trying to put a lot of stuff in and give these guys credit. They're syncing it up. But when we do what we do, it looks good. And when we turn them over and we get easies, buddy, that's a beautiful thing.
You and Coach Davis, 1-2 punch at West End. You guys we're really impressed with you guys.
Thank
seriously.
you. He's great to work with, by the way.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
I noticed a lot. I love his social media. He's always positive.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about this guy to your left right here, Mr. Camacho. Coach, do you have to reel him in sometimes with his energy?
Just the opposite. And I'll tell you, for him to be such a dynamic player and not to start, and he's never said a word about it, he accepts his role, and when it's his time, it's his time. And to your point, my assistant coach, who, if I couldn't do it without him, but he said, Camacho's got 4, and he was about to tell him he had 4 fouls. I said, don't tell him. He's got to play hard for us to win.
Yeah.
And if it means 5 fouls, it means 5 fouls. So, right. No, I don't really mean. I want him doing what he does. Yeah, and he's good at it. So.
And let's talk about you, man. Defensively, you kind of spearhead that press. When they come across, you're the first. Look like the head of the spear, the point of the spear, so to speak, and you put a lot of tremendous amount of pressure up there on those guys. And I think that's a lost art for them, is in between the 3-point lines. A lot of people don't even play basketball. They let you bring it up, and then they bring it up. You guys are a little bit different. Let's talk about your pressure individually, man. You did a great job today, from Britton or Delp or whoever it was that brought it up. And you talk about, your execution and how it worked out for you today defensively.
It's just really about effort to me, going out there and work.
I don't think you're ever going to be short of an effort. I guarantee you that.
I always try to bring effort to it.
But you guys got several points off turnovers and layups, and unselfishly passing the basketball. And could you speak on the play of Jeremiah Robertson in this tournament?
Effort's tremendous. He's a senior. He wants to do what his part is to lead us to the next step. I told him when I met with him at first, our seniors probably won't see where this team will end up in 2 or 3 years, but they can set the standard how we practice and how we play. And then when they come back and see us hang banners, they'll be proud of that. And that's exactly what Jeremiah does. He wants to make sure that we're doing it right to the best of his ability. But, we just stressed, let's do this thing together. Let's make sure everybody's doing what they should do. I challenge them, and I'm a yeller during the game, and this guy gets a lot of my yelling. But it's because they can do more if they want to do more. So that's where we are. Jeremiah's he's a friend of that. He wants to be coached.
You do too, though. That yelling don't bother you, does it?
One thing that we noticed was with Dell, anytime you take a shot against him, you're a pump faker. Is that something that you went over with him?
We know, yes, and thanks for noticing that. We know he's a natural shot blocker. There's just some people that are natural, and he's a natural. And, we're challenging to see if we can lift him maybe a little bit just to get him off stride. But he does really a great job, and he's a quick leaper. So if you even get him up and don't let him come all the way down, he still has the length. But, yeah, the last part of that we're challenging is when we get them up, let's get into them instead of away from them. And we'll get that. It'll come.
Coach, talk about the importance of this tournament playing back-to-back days like you have, and how that's going to help you moving forward and seeing some of the teams you might not normally see moving into area play.
Right. I told them just a second ago, I'm so ready to go get back in area play. We're a different team. It took us this long to figure out how we needed to play, and we're going to give our area some trouble. Unfortunately, we got some catching up to do, but we'll be ready for the second half of the season, and area's really what we drive for. So we're excited, just totally excited.
Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure covering you guys this week, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all for covering us.
Thank you, guys.
My name is Chad Holderfield. This is Colton Morrison Sr. and Chris Lingle Jr.
Coach, yesterday when we talked to you, you talked about, these two teams are going to be very similar. It's going to be who executes better. And you also said, you pretty much throw the classification out because when you go with these two teams, they're very similar players coming on the basketball court. Can you talk about that execution you did today? Because you guys made some huge adjustments, I thought, which was the difference in the game.
I felt like our guys had a good mindset. They weren't really too high. Everybody was pretty even keeled. And I thought that was, I think when we've had some issues this year during some of our ball games where I felt like we've been a little too uptight, been a little too trying to make things bigger than what they are. At the end of the day, it was a fun game, it was a fun environment, but tonight, still in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's just about getting better, preparing ourselves. We have an area game a week from tomorrow night. We got that big stretch run of area play and getting ready for area tournament. So that was really just the focus of as guys just coming out and being fairly loose, playing free-minded, playing hard, playing together. But just going out there and just not being afraid to make mistakes, not being afraid to to put themselves out there and just be there for each other.
Talk about your defense, specifically on Tucker. I know he's a matchup problem for a lot of teams, and I noticed you kept swapping guys on him and making life kind of difficult for him. I mean, he hit some shots, but you made him work tonight.
Largely, we swapped guys on him because we were in foul trouble. Jordan Grantham was in foul trouble. We were trying to trap the post, and we got a little bit of foul trouble. But Tucker's a really good player. And what makes Joe so good is he's a very all-around player. He rebounds well, he posts up well, he shoots it well, he drives it well. He's just a good basketball player. And so, I felt like the guys that guarded him, we rotated guys. We had, Jordan did a very good job. We had a stretch where Owen Westcott was on him. Chris had a stretch on him and did a very good job. So we had a lot of us rotating guys was at a necessity. Jordan would have been on him more if he had not been in foul trouble. But collectively, everybody did a really good job. So I was pleased.
Absolutely. And Chris, we'll talk to you for a second. I know I'm definitely going to talk to this man about going unconscious there in the second quarter, but I want to talk to you about handling pressure, man. I think you did an excellent job not only handling pressure in key situations when, they were doing traps, full court trap, half court trap, and you still handle it. but a lot of what he got was a lot of set shots you got from breaking their press and secondary break. You talk about handling the pressure a little bit.
Just when he's going like that, it's easier to handle pressure because if you get him the ball, he's just gonna make shots. He what'd you hit 4 or 5 threes in the third quarter, and just give him the ball, let him do what he does the best.
What kind of looks were you seeing from them? I noticed they were rotating defenders on you as well, and they had Lockridge on you, and then they'd rotate off. But what kind of looks were they giving you specifically there in the first half, and then how did that change over into the second half?
They started not letting me catch the ball and then bounce play, so they kind of adjusted to that. But Andrew, he's a very good defender, and he made it tough on me all night. So.
Yeah, but I thought you did an excellent job. I'm gonna talk to Colton. Colton, you caught fire there. I mean, insanely there right before the half. You talk about what you were seeing. I know a lot of, like I said, we're coming off secondary breaks and stuff.
Yeah, well,
but you also created some shots.
Yeah, we had open shots like the whole first half too. It wasn't just when I was making the shots. They just went in. But we were doing a good job. They were doing, like my teammates were doing a good job of driving and kicking all night. So I mean, it was there. The shots were just going in.
And talk about the buzzer beater, because that's when everybody was oohing and ahhing over. Yeah. Your coach said you traveled. Is that true, Coach?
I thought he did, but it's okay. It's okay.
Well, it ain't in the record books. So we're just gonna say you did.
Yeah.
But what did you see from that one specifically?
I mean, I was hot, so I mean, I was going to shoot a 3. That's what my mindset was before.
We all yelled heat check right before you shot it, and I was like, well, I guess that's pretty good judgment of how hot he is right now.
Well, and to speak to that too, kind of piggybacking off the questions that you had, or the things that you talked to both of them about, we're at our best when we're unselfish. And Chris handling pressure. There's a lot of times Chris is down in the paint and he's throwing passes where he probably should score. We had a couple turnovers there where he's at the rim, probably could have finished, and he's trying to. So such does a really good job of getting other people involved, and I felt like everybody was that way. We've had games where our scoring's been really balanced all year. We've had games where Colton's gone off and Chris has had high numbers. Michael Rich had high numbers the first night against Sardis. Tommy's put up some points. Parker Kraska's put up some points. We've had games where we've had a lot of guys scoring. If you look at our scorebook, it's pretty well balanced. So as a coach, the thing I'm the most proud of is just how unselfish these guys are.
I think, the second half of the Gadsden City game, when you got your legs under you, I think playing them actually helped in this game. Do you think?
Absolutely.
And I know you talked about using that as a springboard to help.
We needed that. The two things that we really need right now, and we don't have much time to get it. We've got Fort Payne, and then we play Etowah in an area game. But the two things that we need, and you spoke to both of them. Number one is that we need to handle pressure. We need to be in situations where we're having to handle pressure. And then number two, we need to be in a dogfight. Most of the games that we've won this year, we've won by big numbers. We haven't been in a whole lot of games that were 5, 6, 7, 8 point games, and we've held on to win. So tonight, I was pleased with that. I was pleased that we got ourselves in a situation where we had to take care of the ball, not turn it over, and manage the clock at the end of the ball game. And I thought that was good for us too.
Absolutely. Chris, let me ask you a question. This season, I know last season you didn't even play in this tournament. This season you did play in this tournament, and now that you've got your legs back under you, so to speak, and playing, how different is it now, confidence standpoint, from last year to this year at this point?
It's I'm two totally different people. I feel like last year coming back, I was always kind of favoring my leg, and I could never really, I was slow coming back from that injury.
In your head too?
It was. I mean, it always is going to be. But my body also wasn't where I needed to be. I was a little overweight. I lost a lot of weight, and I wasn't as fast as I needed to be, as quick as I ultimately am now. And I think that's helped me the most right now, and the confidence part too, just being back to 100%.
And you guys played a pretty treacherous summer schedule. I mean, like you guys played up some competition too as well. I'm sure that helped.
Yes, it did.
Absolutely. Colton, a question to you is coming out of football, you feel like you got your basketball legs under you and your shot obviously looks like it's back.
Yeah.
How long did that take for you, and has that transition come all the way through now? Do you feel completely confident now?
Yeah, I'm definitely confident now, but I mean, it didn't take that long, a couple of weeks to get back in basketball shape, especially since I had mono during football season, so I missed a couple games.
You had mono?
Yeah, I missed 5 games.
Golly. We did know that is right. That is correct. That is correct. Yeah, because that you can't eat, you lose strength and everything with that. That's terrible. So you're back, ready to roll. So that's a good time right here around the area, Coach. Well, I appreciate you guys. We look forward to come seeing you guys play. This kind of kicks off our basketball coverage right here. We'll definitely come check you guys out. I appreciate you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Huff, congratulations on winning second consecutive Christmas Classic tournament. Could you tell us who you got with you today?
To my left, I got Cam Williams, 3-point specialist. To my right, I got DeMarcus Macon. Then to my left, I got Trey Woods and Quentin Densmore.
Coach, from the get-go, the energy level was as high as it's been this whole tournament, obviously. I thought your pressure jumping out on them early, kind of like you did Southside. I think you kind of got in a groove early. I think defense turned into offense. Can you talk about that first quarter a little bit?
Yeah. We did what we had planned out doing. We followed the game plan. We thought we got quick whistles real early, and I think it kept them in the ball game. They shot a lot of free throws there real early, and that kept them close. And then it got us also in a situation where we couldn't play defense as aggressive as we wanted to play it. I thought the intensity was there, the effort was there. We got out of position a couple of times, and we allowed them to get a couple of easy buckets, especially rebounding hurt us some in that first half. We didn't finish the job. We didn't get it done. We did a real good job of forcing bad shots, but we didn't get the rebound, and that's what we got to do better. And that stood out in my mind more than anything. I wasn't particularly looking at the score. I was looking at how well we were coming together as a team defensively, because we got a big area game coming up. And it really bothered me that we gave up so many offensive rebounds. And so that was one of the biggest things that stuck out on me. But we did, some of the things that we did talk about doing was getting the ball up the floor. Even when they made buckets, we didn't stop and pout and put our head down. We were scoring on the other end. Trey was out, and we were getting the ball down the floor. And while they were celebrating on making a bucket on us, you know, we was laying it up on the other end. And that's the type of Gadsden City basketball that we're accustomed to playing around here. We hadn't had that in a couple of years. And this year, this team is getting into that groove. And after you start pushing them back, so getting layups, the defense will stop crashing the offensive boards, trying to get back, which will help your defensive rebound. Then when Cam got in the ball game, it was lights out, man. He was feeling it. And hey, when you got a weapon like that, man, you use it, and we milked them dry tonight.
Cam, talk about that performance you had. I think at one time 4 consecutive threes in a row. Was you getting open looks? I know from secondary breaks and things like that, but was you just feeling it from when you got here today, or was it in warm-ups, or what was it?
We had a little workout this morning. John called us. He got me out of bed, actually. And he called us in here, and we was getting, I don't know how many shots we got. It was over 300 shots. We was just in here shooting.
As I noticed, Trey and others did a really good job of penetrating and kicking and finding you in that one corner. Is that your sweet spot?
Yes, sir, that corner.
So it's like 2K, we got to get him out of his spot. Coach, let me ask you this question. I know coming into the tournament with DeRicky not here and Orr being injured, I know you said it kind of forced your hand to go small ball. You think that's helped your overall team and going into area play then?
Definitely. Oh, man. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But we're a much better team. We're going to be a much better team when we get back, but we're much better playing the style of ball that we see we've got to play. I think the biggest game that helped us more than any game we played this year is the game at Garnersville. I think that game helped us more than anything. I think that since that ball game, we definitely put our head down, stuck our foot in the ground, and say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we got to do, this is what we're going to do. And we lost that game up at Garnersville, but it was a good loss because we definitely grown from it. And first quarter, man, this cat right here, Trey Woods, had 6 assists, man. I mean, I don't know if he had 6 assists on He had 6 assists in the first quarter. And man, he was finding guys. He was getting his layups. He was getting out and getting his layups, getting his points as well. But when he was pushing it up the floor, guys couldn't stay in front of him, and he was finding his teammates. And it's beautiful basketball, man. I think we had more assists than we had rebounds at halftime.
Yeah. You had 16 total assists for the game.
Wow, that's good.
I think it's special to have a defensive player as your tournament MVP as well. Can you talk about his play in this overall tournament?
Listen, man,
Quentin's.
We're trying to set a standard around here. You know, offense is good, but defense win ball games. You know, we're in this situation because of the effort that he put on the defensive end. You know, you can score 100 points, but if other teams score 101, you still lose. But you know, he's getting stops. He's all over the floor, man. He's smart. He's a gamer. I mean, he's just not. I mean, he's just that type of player. He's a winner, and he comes to practice that way. He practiced that way. This is not a fluke. He practiced that way.
I seen that
we
last
sit
night.
in that. The team is scheming. See, before the game started, the guys was telling me who should check who, and they said, let's start him out on the point guard. You know, let's just put him on. And that's when you know you got a team that's bought in and really paying attention to detail. Not saying I can't wait to get out here and get my shine on and let people see me do my thing. They all talking about what our game plan is and how to accomplish it so that we can establish our goal.
Can you talk about the two gentlemen on each side of you that also made all tournament? Both of them very steady, you know, solid all the way through on offense and even defense.
You said consistent. They both consistent. DeMarcus is consistent. He's gonna always give you his, 12, 13 points every ball game. Sometimes he might bust you up with 25, 30, but he gonna always give you that 10 or 12, and he gets a lot of them because he hits the boards, man. The guy jumps so quick, man. He is a quick jumper, and he really fights on the boards. He's outsized down there, but you would never know it, man. He comes away every ball game with almost double-figure rebound. And this guy right here, man, speed, quickness, man. He's consistently gonna go in and get in the lane. You cannot keep I believe 90% of his shots are taken in the lane. You know, we sometimes we want to get a little closer, but hey, man, you can't stop him from getting in the lane. And he's quick, and it's an asset to have a guy like that. I think he got a 5-second call, a turnover. That I feel like was a terrible call. So,
it was right in front of you.
He's happening right in front of me, and the guy got his hand all over him, and he still gets the separation. But it's hard to stay with this guy, man. He's a tremendous player, and his game is definitely improving game to game.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate you. Congratulations to all you guys. Reggie, get something.
I noticed you guys also shot 71% from the free throw line. I know in years past that's kind of been an issue for Gadsden City, and it seemed like this year you guys have been a little bit more consistent with the free throw line. How important is that going forward as far as area play?
That's been a thorn in our flesh. That has, and this year this team again committed. They have bought in. Since the preseason, we've been talking about free throws. Let's make free throws. Every time you go to the line, it's a big deal. Hold your follow through. It's a big deal when you go to the line. I don't care if it's the first free throw of the game or the last free throw. And these guys have really been doing that. And then they've been, they stay in contact with Coach Stewart about, what they shooting from, how close are they to shooting 100% as a team. How many free throws I done missed this year. Most of these guys know because they're concerned. And when you got guys like that are concerned about the stats and concerned about what they're doing at the free throw line and not how many jump shots how many points they score, you got a team that's buying in, and you got a real good chance at being a team that's got a chance to make a run in the state championship.
Absolutely. All right, Coach. Thank you guys so much.